Welcome to episode 4. We transition from the sick body of Isaiah chapter 1 into one of the most famous future visions in all of Scripture. Isaiah chapter 2, verses 1 through 5, opens a doorway into a different horizon. After judgment, after diagnosis, after exposure of corruption, the prophet lifts our eyes toward a peak. This is not escapism. It is prophetic orientation. It is the revelation of a higher ordering of human life, a picture of alignment, peace, and moral clarity. Before we begin, a clear disclaimer. This presentation is a metaphysical and psychological inquiry that uses certain concepts associated with the Seth Speaks material by Jane Roberts as a conceptual lens. It is not a replacement for scripture, doctrine, or personal faith. The Bible is honored here as sacred text. Our purpose is educational and philosophical, to examine how prophetic experience may operate through awareness, symbolism, moral perception, and the structure of human meaning. Isaiah introduces this vision with a striking phrase. He says he saw the word. That detail matters. He does not only hear information, he sees it. The prophetic message is not merely a sentence, it is a living picture. It arrives with structure, atmosphere, and moral weight, as if the mind is momentarily granted a higher vantage point, and from that vantage point, the message becomes visible. Then Isaiah speaks of the latter days and the mountain of the Lord's house being established as the highest of mountains. In biblical language, the mountain is more than geography. It is a symbol of authority, centrality, and ultimate priority. Mountains represent what stands above, what is stable, what commands perspective. When Isaiah says the mountain of the Lord will be established above all mountains, he is not simply predicting tourism to Jerusalem. He is declaring that the knowledge of God, the rule of justice, and the order of holiness will become the defining center of human civilization. Here is a careful way to connect theology and the language of systems. Every society has a center. Every individual has a center. Something functions as the highest reference point, the ultimate value, the final authority. When the center is money, the society organizes around competition and fear. When the center is power, the society organizes around domination and control. When the center is ego and image, the society organizes around performance and manipulation. But when the center is God, the society begins to reorganize around truth, justice, dignity, and peace. Isaiah is giving us a picture of what happens when the highest reference point becomes the Lord. He then says something even more mysterious. He says that all nations will flow to this mountain. Notice the word flow. It is the language of movement that feels natural, like water moving along a channel. Isaiah describes a future where people and nations are drawn toward instruction, toward moral law, toward divine ways. He imagines humanity not as a collection of isolated tribes, but as a family of nations moving toward a shared center. In theological terms, this is the nations seeking the Lord, not as a private tribal deity, but as the universal God whose wisdom orders human life. In psychological terms, it is a shift in desire. Instead of craving conquest, people crave understanding. Instead of chasing bribes, they pursue truth. Instead of living from scarcity, they move toward meaning. If we borrow a Sethian metaphor carefully, we could say that consciousness is attracted to what it recognizes as higher coherence. People are drawn toward what heals fragmentation. When a life is divided, it seeks integration. When a society is torn, it longs for an ordering principle that can hold it together. Isaiah is describing a global movement toward coherence, toward a shared moral gravity. Then the nations begin to speak to one another. They say, "Come, let us go up, that he may teach us his ways, and we may walk in his paths." This is not forced religion. This is voluntary pursuit of instruction. They want to learn. They want to be trained. They want their walking, meaning their daily living, to match what is true. This is where Isaiah becomes deeply practical. The vision is lofty, but the language is grounded. He speaks of learning and walking, not merely believing, but practicing. Not merely admiring the mountain, but ascending it with discipline. Not merely hearing divine words, but living divine paths. Isaiah then declares that out of Zion will go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Again, we must read this with theological seriousness. The law here is not simply a list of restrictions. It is moral order. It is justice articulated. It is the alignment of communal life with divine truth. If we use scientific language as metaphor, think of it as an organizing principle. When a system lacks an organizing principle, Its parts compete, collide, and exhaust themselves. When an organizing principle is clear, the parts begin to coordinate. In the body, health is coordination. Cells cooperate, organs communicate, signals regulate and stabilize. Isaiah is describing a world where human law finally resembles what life itself teaches: cooperation, mutual protection, and ordered relationships. But Isaiah's core claim is not biology. It is holiness. The organizing principle is not merely efficiency. It is righteousness. It is the character of God expressed as justice in the world. The prophet is telling us that peace will not emerge by accident. Peace will emerge when the moral center is restored. Then comes the verse that echoes through centuries. God will judge between the nations, and they will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not lift up sword against nation, and they will not learn war anymore. This is not sentimental poetry. This is a structural reversal. Isaiah is saying that human energy will be rechanneled. The materials of destruction become tools of cultivation. The skills of war are unlearned. The training of violence is replaced by the training of life. Notice what must change for that to happen. War is not only a weapon. War is a mindset. War is a belief in separateness so strong that it becomes normal to destroy the other. War is a story that says your survival requires my defeat. War is the fruit of a broken center. So Isaiah's vision implies that the end of war requires the healing of perception. It requires the restoration of a shared moral reference point. When the Lord becomes the center, the other is no longer merely an enemy. The other becomes a neighbor. And once the other is recognized as neighbor, violence becomes harder to justify, because conscience reawakens. Here we must speak carefully. The prophet is not claiming that humans will magically lose the capacity for aggression. He is claiming that aggression will be transformed through divine judgment and instruction. In modern psychological terms, aggression can be redirected into protection, courage, and constructive labor. The same intensity that once fueled destruction can fuel building. The same discipline that once trained soldiers can train citizens. The same organizational power that once fed conflict can feed cultivation. Isaiah is envisioning the moral conversion of human strength. And then Isaiah closes with an invitation that turns the vision into a decision. He says, "O house of Jacob, come, let us walk in the light of the Lord." In other words, the mountain is not only a future picture, it is a present call. We do not wait for the world to become aligned before we choose alignment. We walk now, we live now, we begin now. This is where the future becomes spiritually immediate. In Sethian language, one might say that the future is not a single line, but a field of possibilities shaped by belief and action. In biblical language, one would say that the kingdom of God calls for obedience in the present. Either way, Isaiah's point is the same. If you want the mountain world, you must begin mountain living. What does it mean to walk in the light? It means to make decisions that match truth even when darkness is popular. It means to act as if justice is real, even when injustice seems profitable. It means to practice peace in speech, honesty in trade, humility in power, and compassion in conflict. It means to treat instruction as more precious than influence. It means to seek God not as a symbol, but as the center. Now let us summarize what Isaiah 2, verses 1 through 5 has revealed. First, prophecy is not merely prediction. Prophecy is moral orientation. It shows the highest center, the truest priority, the peak toward which human life is meant to rise. Second, alignment changes motion. When God becomes the reference point, nations begin to move toward instruction rather than domination, toward learning rather than looting, toward shared meaning rather than endless competition. Third, peace is not wishful thinking. Peace is the fruit of a restored center. The end of war is not only political, it is spiritual and moral. It is the transformation of how humans perceive one another under God. Fourth, the future enters through the present. The mountain is not only ahead, the mountain begins inside the decisions we make now. Walking in the light is not a slogan, it is a daily practice. So as you finish this episode, ask yourself one honest question. What is the highest mountain in your life right now? What sits at the top of your priorities? What do you obey most quickly? What do you protect most fiercely? What do you chase most consistently? Because whatever sits at the top becomes your center, and your center shapes your world. In our next episode, we will discover why people still hide in the caves. We will confront pride, fear, and the illusions that keep consciousness trapped in the valley. We enter Isaiah 2, verses 6 through 22, and we will explore the day of the Lord as a collapse of false mountains. If this series helps you think clearly and live with stronger alignment, support the work. Like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and start walking in the light today.